Hey guys, it's Thursday, March 18th, 2021, and we're going to take a quick look here at Quebec. Quebec isn't voting until 2022, but they are going to have a provincial election, same year Ontario is having one. Um, so we can see here, though, it's a bit of a different situation. Quebec is very unique in terms of its provincial and its federal politics, so it's always fun to take a look at, and so I wanted to just do a quick video here looking at how the polls look. Looks like they haven't done one for about a month, but I'm sure it hasn't changed much from this. Basically, we got the Coalition Avenir Québec here, or the CAQ party. They're in first. They have almost 47% of the vote. Liberal Party is in second here with about 23% of the vote. And then we have the Parti Québécois here, and they have about 13%, and Québec Solidaire, which has about 11.9%. So right off the bat, I guess we have to distinguish. There's a lot of differences between these parties, but also there's like a lot of similarities. You know, like all of these parties in general do believe in it's different from Ontario politics significantly, because if you have people who are PC in Ontario, they really believe in small government kind of philosophy, right? But even in this situation where the CAQ is considered to be more of a right-wing conservative party fiscally, but also culturally very much into this idea of unique Quebec culture and preserving Quebec culture and ensuring that, the Quebec systems of government are very strong, like the institutions are strong, and basically that they represent Quebec as they see it, right? So all four of these parties here certainly believe in the state having a role in government in a way that, in Ontario, you have socialists in the NDP, I guess, and people in the Conservatives who don't want any government interference. They want to minimize, or they want to pass it off to lower authorities rather than basically take on big tasks. That kind of philosophy doesn't really exist in Quebec. So in Quebec, a lot of the time, there's general agreement between these parties that they will maintain some kind of welfare state. It's just the bigger question I find is the national identity question. And these are the things that drive the vote very much in Quebec politics. So Coalition Avenir Québec, I don't think they have as strict of a position on separatism as the Parti Québécois did down here. This is always a sore point for it in Quebec politics a lot of the time, is the Parti Québécois was in a minority government for a little while, and then these questions about the values charter came up, and basically spending mostly questions, though, about whether there was going to be a referendum vote, whether this charter that basically restricted certain religious garments being worn in public would go through, and what the implications of that would be. And we found that in the 2014 election, the Liberals ended up very much winning clear majority because the Parti Québécois did not do a good job in answering these questions. And this is typically, so this is where the strong point is for the Quebec Liberal Party, usually is the island of Montreal. They did really well out in the outskirts here of Quebec. This is in 2014. And what we see is, because of just general mismanagement, I believe the Coalition Avenir Québec, basically by being fiscally conservative, because Quebecers are interesting in the sense that, this whole movement, or this whole separatist movement, very much came out of socialist politics in the 60s and 70s, and the welfare state that was established did create a big middle class in Quebec that kind of exploded. Now, the middle class in Quebec, even though they were supported by all these programs, now all of a sudden, they want their taxes to be lower, so they do go for this kind of right-wing party, which doesn't have the socialist ties of maybe these other two parties, but still maintains that sense of Quebec independence that the Liberal Party, being very federalist, traditionally would not have. So I don't know how long this kind of trend is going to last with the CAQ being this high up. They've been rather popular for the past 2 or 3 years in government in Quebec, and I think that's because they strike a lot of compromises between groups of people like francophones who want language rights preserved, but also people who want their taxes to remain low. And so I don't really see, so this is the 2018 map. So you see really the Liberal Party reduced to Montreal, but even the CAQ making big inroads here even on the island of Montreal itself. The orange here, this is Quebec Solidaire, and I think this is quite interesting how Quebec Solidaire, not only, they're definitely, men en masse, that party's a very left-wing party, even more to the left than Parti Québécois, but they don't have the cultural edge, well, I would say. There's a lot of cultural sensitivities, the Parti Québécois and the CAQ kind of juggle in, and I feel Quebec Solidaire definitely takes a more inclusive approach to the way they view Quebec in the future. Definitely more neutral, I would say, on some language issues, but, correct me if I'm wrong. But what I found interesting is that, they're winning downtown Montreal. I expect, if the Liberals aren't doing well in Quebec in general, which you see here, it's all blue, and 4 years earlier, a lot of this was red, deep red even, but now see it's all blue. They even won out here. This riding 73. Hoyun Nohanda, this whole area here looks like it was just barely Liberal. That looks like a real kind of swing area. It's interesting to me that a socialist candidate can win out here, and basically the CAQ, they got a grip on Quebec City, barely any. You got some Quebec Solidaire in there, but it's really impressive to me how their reach is going rural, but also they got this suburban reach. And the Parti Québécois, they're just squeezed in the middle here. Impressed that Quebec Solidaire made the same number of seats as they do, because, Quebec Solidaire, we would consider them to be a very urban party. And the Parti Québécois, they've won these more rural areas in the past, but looks like Parti Québécois has been squeezed out. I would like to see how Quebec Solidaire does in the future. But basically, implications for this, probably the CAQ's going to win again. Something that could go really, really, really wrong in the campaign for them to break up this kind of lead. And I mean, this is a big voting block that's still, I would see people who were in the Parti Québécois went to the CAQ more than, exchange between these two. Correct me if I'm wrong about that, but usually I find, politics in Quebec are basically not too much based on spending issues, but more identity issues. So let's take a look, though, federally implications, because they have a very strong hold in Quebec, right? The CAQ. So then we go federally. Let's go to all of Canada here, right? And so this basically means that in Canada, that translates to support for the Bloc Quebecois in Quebec. The Bloc Quebecois able to pull out 28, 30 seats out of that support. You can look here, the breakdown for Quebec. They have 29% of the seats here. Liberals have 35, so there is some crossover here federally and provincially. But usually, votes go to the Bloc Quebecois when there's general dissatisfaction with the federal government. I can say clearly there's not a lot of satisfaction with in Quebec, I guess Justin Trudeau is relatively popular. He is still the number one person, but this is kind of a parked vote, shall we say, because there's a lot of people here who would, in the past they've gone NDP, they've gone Green. This is generally a dissatisfaction vote with how things are going in the country. A lot of Quebecers in the past have done this. We were at a point in 2011 where the NDP was picking up a lot of this vote, and this was basically reduced to single digits in Quebec, almost unknown, but it has been revived in recent years, and it really is, it's going to drive majority and minority governments for a while, I think, certainly for Liberals, because they rely heavily on Quebec to get a lot of their seats for government. So, that's just a quick overview of Quebec. It looks like, provincially, very, very blue for the Coalition Avenir Québec, but federally as well, there's significant support for the Bloc Québécois, which I think rides on that. And so we'll have to see whether this will keep matching for the next elections coming up. Thank you for listening.